Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest book collaborations. It's called Unstoppable, being fierce, fearless, and unfuckwithable in life and business. Yes, I said the F word, y'all. This is going to be that kind of book, and I cannot wait to share these authors and their stories. First, you guys, let's just say a super big, awesome thank you to Rochelle Marie Lawson. She is the lead author of this book. And Rochelle, we would not be here if it wasn't for you. I love this book. I love this mission. I know the ladies agree with me, and today you guys get to meet them. So I have Bessie Lee Cappell. She's a full-time inventor, licensed social worker with 10 years experience, a wife and a mom of 3 beautiful children. I've got LJ Raspler with me. She's an entrepreneur, a fundraiser for veterans who recently aligned with a local VFW post to begin the Cooking for Virginia Veterans program. And Nicole Batiste is an expert in mindset, empowerment, and inner balance, helping her clients create a personalized I Am Enough toolkit designed to empower them to push past self-imposed roadblocks using a custom blend of tools, methods, and techniques co-created with her clients. Y'all, if you need more info, you're going to be hooked up in the show notes with their websites. So welcome, ladies. How's it going?
Thank you.
Hi.
I'm so excited.
I am really happy to share you all with the world. And let's start with Bessie. Bessie, tell us a little bit about this chapter that you wrote for the book.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am Bessie Lee Cappell once again, and my chapter is chapter 9, and it's called Beating the Odds, Keeping Your Focus During Every Challenge. Just a little tad bit about my chapter. I focus on a lot of different challenges that I went through in my life journey thus far. And I was not able to touch on every challenge, but those that really struck home for me. So, we will explore, teenage pregnancy. We will explore how drugs impacted my life, starting from a young child. And so much other in this chapter, and how I overcame it, how I went through it, death within my family. So that's pretty much everything I put through in my chapter. And I explained some great tools that I use to get through, and hopefully that can inspire others to do the same.
Bessie, I love that you're an inventor. Just for a moment, and I just love saying this out loud, you guys, tell us more about the baby bottle brush bib. Say that 10 times fast, you guys, just try. Tell us how did that happen?
So yes, I know it's a real kooky name, but it actually was inspired by my first invented product, the brush bib, which I actually shortened the name. The original name of the product was baby bottle brush bib. But seeing as though that was a tongue tie for many individuals, I shortened the name the brush bib and decided to name my company the Baby Bottle Brush Bib Co. So the brush bib is a silicone protective barrier that goes around bottle brushes for users when they're washing out baby bottles. So you no longer get splashed on your clothes and in your face. Now you have that barrier that shields you from the splashback. So that's what that is. That's why the company is named behind it.
So, I love that we can talk about inventing, especially in a book called Unstoppable. There had to be a place in your life where, I don't know, you tell us, did you always know you could do this? Was there some doubt? Tell me just a little bit about that story.
Not at all. As you said previously, I am a licensed social worker. So I really always went on the field of social work. I've always been in a helping field. I love helping children, parents, and I've always been solution focused. So that's what really made me what I thought was a standout social worker. But being a mother of 3, as you add to the family, things become more chaotic. And being a full-time social worker and having 3 children and trying to juggle everything, it just became a lot. So I started realizing a lot more things that were becoming more tedious for me now that I have more on my plate to handle. And one of them was washing bottles. My youngest, he was my special child, which you'll learn in my chapter. And I mean, all my children are special, but he definitely hit home with a lot of different things that I wasn't used to experiencing. And one of the things was washing a lot of bottles and, you know, breastfeeding and going to work and being a social worker, meeting with attorneys. My blouse and everything will have water splatter stains on it from me washing, you know, the bottles that I just pumped in. And I'm like, okay, it has to be a better brush on the market. There was nothing better. So I created something. I became solution focused in my own home, shall I say, and created something that would work for my house.
Nice. I love it. Oh my goodness. All right. You have a lot to teach us about that too, because that's mindset, you guys. That is, and I mean, essentially all of you, and thank you for doing this. You're all teaching awareness tools in your chapters. You're all sharing that beautiful gift with the reader of like what was in there and what you had to do to switch it up to, you know, make the transitions and the transformations you all made. So I thank all of you for saying yes to this project, but for doing that so brilliantly. It's one thing to teach it to someone, but it's quite another thing to put it in black and white in a book and be like, yeah, okay, we're publishing that, you know. I know, I get it. I get it. Thank you, Bessie.
No problem.
So LJ, let's move to you. Tell us a little bit about your chapter.
Good morning, everyone. I am LJ Raspler, and I'm a native New Yorker living in Virginia. Laura, I want to start by saying thank you so much for this opportunity to be here with you. To Rochelle, you know, many thanks, and the opportunity to write this story. I am chapter 7, and the name of my chapter is Wake Up, Take Charge. I'm all about it. I'm all over it. And it's a story that has been waiting to be told for almost 13 years. The darkest days of my life, perhaps, led me down the road of a very personal journey with a rare autoimmune disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome. Developed it in 2009, and it was after a flu vaccine. And I have not shared this with the world, but it is time. And I want people to understand it was not, the flu vaccine is what put me over the edge. I had already had underlying symptoms of ill health. I was sick all the time. During the time that I had been going through Guillain-Barré syndrome, I was a mom raising my 3 children. I was a graduate student, went back to school to earn my master's in education, duly certified. And, you know, I persevered. But through this time, I felt like my eyes were closed. I was in a place that I shuddered. You know, I felt like I was carrying the weight of the world on me. And I had to put this face on that said, I'm brave, I can do this. But I never shared it with anybody. So my pain and suffering, not only physically, but emotionally, put me in a tailspin. Yes, I did have some successes in my life at that time, being, you know, raising my children and going to graduate school through the pain and the suffering really made me reflect internally, Laura, internally, and saying, I can do this. Perhaps I am unstoppable and I am fierce and all those positive things. But the power of the word and sharing my story here is what has liberated me, because I haven't told anyone. Yes, my family, my immediate family knew my pain, but I never spoke about it. And through my journey, I happily left teaching in October of 2019. And as a person who was diagnosed clinically with anxiety and PTSD, I had this calling, and this calling said to me, after I left school, I was never one to sit idle. I said, I need to serve veterans. And I am the daughter of a Navy veteran, although my dad never talked about his service. I've been laying the foundation to start a veterans nonprofit. And in my journey, I met my mission partner, Irene Vaxberg, who is also part of this story, part of this book in her own chapter. And I began promoting a holistic healthcare product that optimizes well-being. But the bottom line is, it's helped me with all my neurological deficits that I've suffered as a result. I had chronic pain, muscle weakness, fatigue, couldn't hold my head up, but debilitating neurological damage. And through my journey, I came to Irene and I found these products. And I promote these products now, and I fundraise for veterans, and I give back to organizations that are doing good things for veterans, mainly those that focus on the 22 that die by suicide on a daily basis. It's bringing the plight and suffering of veterans to the forefront, and I'm all about it. It's what I do. It's what I'm meant to do, to be of service to the greater good and to serve veterans in need.
Well, you said something really important, LJ, and that was about, you had never really talked about the story before. You had never really shared out loud. And my mission here is to share brave words, because we know that people are listening, and that even if you changed one life, it would have been worth, whatever that feeling is you have to get over when you speak out loud about your story, or, oh my goodness, publish formally your story for the world to read. Can you talk a little bit more about that process for you? And yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked me that, Laura, because that is another part of why writing my story was so important. Many people, for those of you who have never heard of Guillain-Barré syndrome, or GBS, I first heard of it in the 70s when I was in high school. And a very good friend of mine, her mother, vibrant woman, teacher, thriving in life and everything, had a flu vaccine and died within a year from Guillain-Barré syndrome. And many people that suffer from this syndrome are usually hospitalized. They're paralyzed. They're in wheelchairs. They can't breathe. While I had symptoms, I believe that my symptoms, I never went to a doctor, Laura. And I was too afraid to hear the truth, because I knew that this woman died. And I said, oh my God, am I going to die? And I went on a holistic healing journey. But because my symptoms, one, because this condition is so rare that nobody heard of it, I thought, oh, if I shared it, people are going to think I'm nuts. You're making this up. It's not real. So that was my fear of sharing my story, because I thought people would be like, you're crazy, you made this up. So we all need validation, right? We all need to be heard and listened to. And because I chose the alternative of not being validated, not being heard, I lived in constant fear. I lived with the fear that, perhaps mocking me, that I wasn't really going through. It was all in my head. So this story, these words are so liberating and healing for me, because I felt like I was going out on a limb to share it with people. And if I can change one life because someone else has been through it, I'm all about that. One person who's been through this that I can talk to and share my journey of resiliency and perseverance, right? And being unstoppable in spite of the odds. I want to do that. It's a tough pill to swallow, to say, you're not well, you're sick. And when somebody else hears your story of pain and suffering, no matter what it is, if you can touch that life, that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, we thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's hard also to choose, because I challenged you all to choose a piece, and I know you've lived lifetimes and books worth of stories. Thank you, LJ, for talking about that. As a physical therapist in my first career, one of the very first clients that I helped with in the ICU was a Guillain-Barré patient, and so very well know what you're talking about. And it was a profound experience for me to be able to help that man who could not move from the neck down. So yeah, it's pretty intense. Okay, so let's move over to Nikki and hear all about her chapter.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me here today. So I am the author of Chapter 18, A Simple Tool to Trust Yourself Again. I battled self-trust a lot as I was growing up. Having a silenced voice at a young age through trauma, it just, I came to a point where I just didn't trust myself. I would do things and things didn't pan out, and it just became a repeating cycle. So I had to figure out how to get out of that in order to start to thrive. And so I just really believe self-trust is a huge, huge part of being unstoppable.
So do you remember the moment when that happened and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do something else? Was there like a moment? Is it too hard to think of one moment? I know there's probably been many.
The biggest part, I would say, and I shared it in my chapter, is when I really looked at the debt that I created, buying course after course after course that I did not complete. And friends and family are like, stop buying courses. Like, but I'm still trying to get better. I'm trying to better myself. They were all personal development type courses, or some type of course that was supposed to help me in myself or in my business in the wellness space. So that debt kind of showed me, it's like, Nick, you got to stop.
You know, there's going to be a lot of people who resonate with that. How it showed up in my circles was, you know, looking at brilliant women such as yourself, and they were saying, well, I don't feel like the expert yet, so I need to take this one more class. Meanwhile, I was looking at these women and their credentials and the things they had done and the classes they had taken and all the life experience that they had, and thinking, holy moly, you realize you are an expert already, right? You don't need to take one more course. And of course, it takes one to know one, right? So I've been there, done that too. But what would you share now with somebody if they were looking at themselves like that? What do you want to say to that person?
You don't realize how much you know until you actually step out there and start to put it to work. Because as soon as someone asks you a question, you can just rattle it off. You're like, oh, I did know. You can rattle off the answer. You're like, oh, I knew more than I realized. So, and I still do. I still encounter that from time to time with things. So that's.
And don't you also think that most of us, if not all, with what we've been through, we are at least one step ahead of the person we can assist.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I share with people who, especially who have imposter syndrome. I'm like, you're somewhere where somebody's trying to get, so you can at least help those. And then as you help them, you'll start to grow, and then you can help more people. So yeah, you're always somewhere where somebody's trying to be.
Yeah. It's important to realize that. And here's the thing, because this thing that happens here becomes paralyzing. And then what a waste of time, especially for people and women like you who have such big gifts to share. Because when you're paralyzed by some of that stuff, that imposter stuff or whatever, then that just means you're not out there, like LJ said, with your story. You know, you're not out there inventing. You're not out there putting that next idea into the world that could change someone's life. No, what a waste of time, right? So, but you all know this is a daily challenge. We all have a practice of this. And actually, this is the next question I have for you. Okay, so this is perfect. So LJ, I'm actually going to start with you for this one. You know, to me, being a healer or a coach is about guiding people to this different level of awareness than what they had, right? Feeling is healing. So helping people feel is a part of this for me. So LJ, what's your practice of awareness look like in your day-to-day?
Oh, I am so excited to share this. You know, I look at my approach to life as something that has taken me from those shades on, those blinders on, to a person who's open and expansive to receiving. And my journey is one of self-development. And my tool, the best way I can say it is prioritizing daily intention setting to master life. Being intentional is what I'm about. I have a great mentor. I need to say a shout out to my buddy and veteran friend, Trey Ryder. Always, always inspires me to step up, be intentional, because that is how I am mastering life. It is a 4-part approach, Laura. It begins with each and every day that I quiet myself and I still my body and my mind and I meditate. That meditating practice is what allows me to gain the most clarity, the most going within, so I can bring to the world, I can till the soil of my soul. I can be that pioneer of abundance that I'm meant to be. So it starts with meditation each and every day. And then it's about, let's jump for journaling. Journaling is a part of my practice. I have it as I'm sitting here talking to you. I have my daily affirmations. I have my daily planner where I set my day so I can be intentional. What am I looking to accomplish that day? It's about my waking up and taking charge, because I want to be the catalyst for everything that I'm worthy of, deserving of. So after we do our meditation and journaling, I give in to the G. I give in to gratitude. I write it every day, Laura. I talk about my gratitude, my blessings. I have my gratitude jar here that I keep and I've been doing for years, because if I'm grateful and I'm intentionally grateful, my life becomes more purposeful and I can accomplish everything that I set my mind to. And I have huge goals. I start with my micro goals and I go into stepping up and being, doing what I'm meant to do each and every day so I can accomplish my huge goal of starting that nonprofit, and running that and doing that. And the last thing is never neglect self-reflection. I'm all about that self-reflection, Laura, because if I don't look to myself, and I'm always looking, I'm a co-creator. That is who I am. But yet when I take massive action, I effectively execute. What gives me joy is being able to hold myself most accountable. So when I reap those rewards, I can say, amen. But I did it with the help of others. I'm never far from anyone else, aligning with those that are like-minded. So that's my 4-step process, my tool for prioritizing daily intention setting to bring in that abundance to, as I said, till the soil of my soul.
Thanks, LJ. That was a lot, you guys. You guys got a whole toolkit in LJ's answer, okay? Nikki, I want to hear this answer from you. What's your daily practice look like? And while we all practice very similar tools, we all kind of do it in our own unique way. So give everyone an idea of yours.
Mine is something that occurs throughout the day, just being very mindful of the words I use and the thoughts that I create. And so I'm being intentional about how I express myself, what I desire, what I am claiming, and things like that. So that's just a quick overview. I mean, I do things in the morning, like my yoga and my meditation and stuff like that. But I had to be very cognizant of the way I speak, because I was naturally pessimistic. So in order to become unstoppable, you can't be pessimistic. So
I gotta write that one down. In order to become unstoppable, you cannot be pessimistic. You find yourself on one of my memes next, Nikki.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's so true. And it's something maybe we take for granted. Oh my gosh, Nikki, so you're dropping powerful awareness. You had to look at yourself and come to that conclusion. Mm-hmm. And that's not an easy thing to admit about yourself, that you are a pessimist, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it doesn't feel good, does it? Right.
Nope. Yep. So that's what I do. I I challenge people. I'm like, when you say something, how do you feel in your body when you say that? Like, do you feel like shit or do you feel great? How do you want to feel? So if your words are not making you feel like you are the queen, goddess, king that you are, then I'm gonna need you to reshape the language and change it and see how your life changes, see how your day changes, see how your body changes and everything. So
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Nikki.
you're welcome.
All right, Bessie, we got to hear this from you too. What does your day-to-day look like in terms of this awareness practice?
Yeah, actually, Nikki kind of made a way into my segue because I actually spoke about being positivity. So being optimistic in your day-to-day life, even throughout a challenge. And that is not easy to do because it's a challenge. You're going through so much what you feel is, badness and, tragedy. So how do you remain positive during those times? So for me, as an example, when I went through the loss of one of my really close siblings, I was expecting at the time my first child. And it was like, how do you, how do you keep your cool and, try not to be, just caught in the moment of tragedy? How do you remain positive? And that is not an easy task or to fulfill. So for me, it's just keeping your eyes on the prize and what's really important for you at that moment. So you have to kind of let go of what you cannot control and take control of what you can control and the positivity within that. So for me, it was my pregnancy. It was staying focused on not trying to miscarry during this time and keeping my faith that I need to bring my child into this world. And if I carry on with so much tragedy and negativity, I could miscarry. So staying positive and optimistic about the birth of my unborn child is what kept me going during that time of losing a sibling. So that's just, one example. And, in the chapter, you'll see more examples and just, taking time to reflect, taking deep breaths, meditate, and all of that is what I do on a daily basis when whether I'm in the midst of a challenge or not. That's something that I do. I wake up in the morning with positivity. What do I have to do today? What can I do? What can I achieve? If I do not achieve everything that's set out for me today, it's okay because I am still one step closer than what I was yesterday. So just keeping that mind frame of being positive is really important on a daily basis.
I really appreciated the way that you wrote about that too. Because that is one of the hardest examples that you've lived through is death of a loved one. Yet you had the mind to really think about what was happening in the worst possible scenario and still change it. And I wonder what comment you might have. You have people around you looking at you, saying things. How could you think this when this happened? You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So how do you maintain that boundary for yourself, the one that maintains your own health when you have the influences? I'm just curious how that's gone down for you.
That's a great question, Laura. And for me, I feel that it's okay sometimes to be selfish for the benefit of yourself, for your own mental health, for your own emotional health, physical health, and for those that, are really important for you. Sometimes keeping that composure, staying strong, staying positive, help a loved one closer to you. So me having that strength help my child, help, other family members, relatives who were going through it. I was able to be a shoulder for them to lean on because if we're all in chaos, who can we lean on? We're all just going, crazy and crying, and then there's no one being strong. You need to have strength. So sometimes being selfish can really help the person next to you, can really help someone that you love dearly. So it's okay when people say, negative things. I know what I have to do for me and for those that I care about. So that's how I keep it going. That's how I convince, myself to remain positive in the light of a challenge.
I love it, Bessie. And it's how you became unstoppable. And so here's this next question for all of you. Nikki, I'm going to start with you for this one. This book was really written with that mission. We want our readers to feel empowered and become unstoppable in their lives and their business and all the things that light them up, right? So tell us about what that even means to you. I would love to hear a personal example. Like, what was that empowerment moment? What was that? What does unstoppable mean when it comes to what happened in your life?
Realizing that I am the tool, right? So whatever I decide I want to do, I can do. I have what I need, even if it doesn't feel like I have what I need. And that goes back to that self-trust. Like, I trust that whatever happens is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. And I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I have the right tools around me. And no matter if the situation changes, I haven't changed. All of the knowledge I've gathered, all of my whatever, I haven't, like, I can take me into whatever the new situation is. So knowing that no matter where I step, I can thrive, that's what helps me. I can't think of an example right off the top because I'm not an on the spot person very much.
I mean, you hit it by saying I am the tool. I mean, again, that's an awareness. Yeah. And I really, since the beginning of publishing our collaborations and really building this community of people who are practicing that at another level, I realize every single time one of you talks about any piece of your experiences, it's just this beautiful gift you're giving, because we all, as we deepen the practice of awareness, we deepen the juiciness of our lives. With awareness, you get the choice. That's this quote that I've lived by ever since I became a healer. With awareness, I get a choice. Ooh, what do I even want to choose? Well, okay, can I respond to life instead of react to it? That's another interesting question I ask myself a lot. What else is possible here is another really big one that I use a lot, So I think I am the tool. What else do you want to say about that?
Just realizing that you being the tool that you are, someone needs you just as you are. Just take you 100% into whatever you're doing and you'll be unstoppable.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah. Bessie, I'm going to move to you for this question now. What does it even mean, or what's it meant to you to be unstoppable?
Yes, it meant so much for me because I have 3 children who looks up to me. So especially my daughter, she's my oldest. So being unstoppable, it means just, doing everything regardless, to make it to where you really want to be in life for the sake of not only yourself, but for those you love. And for me, those are my 3 children. Those are, creating generational wealth for them and, letting them know that, it's okay to, I don't want to say fail, but to learn. If you try it and it doesn't work out, it's okay. You learn and then you figure it out, or you move on to something else. Throughout my life, I've been told that I was incredible. How do you do it? I was working a full-time job. I got my license, master's degree. And they're like, how are you doing this? You're working a full-time job at a social welfare agency, which is not a 9 to 5. It's like a on call. It's like a 24-hour, job. And they're like, you're doing that. You have these children at home and you're a wife. And how are you doing that? And now, you have these businesses. And so a lot of people actually was telling me, without saying the word unstoppable, but that I was unstoppable. And I was not picking up on that. It took a while for me to realize, wow, I am truly like, I guess I am like a rare stone and I am unstoppable. So for that, now I'm encouraging my children to do the same, to keep going despite, whatever challenge you may come across. It's okay. You're going to have challenges. It's life. But just remember that you're going to get through that challenge, and you can get you through that challenge. So teaching them that same strength has meant everything for me. Being unstoppable requires a lot of strength, inner strength, and everyone has it. You just have to find it.
Yes, for sure. Oh my goodness, I love listening to you talk about this, all of you. And what a great topic, right? And teaching our children, like what that's just so important to model it and allow them to see that we can have big failures, but it doesn't mean we're going to give up.
No.
Yeah. Awesome. 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 Okay, LJ, you're going to wrap us up with the answer to this question. What does it mean to be unstoppable for you?
I just love what these ladies share. They're so empowered and powerful and badass. I am in awesome company and I love it. I'm going to second that. Amen to I am the tool. I see unstoppable as being someone who is a catalyst for inspiration, someone who holds myself to an accountability factor that comes from the depths. And I will share this, that my defining moment was when I was about to resign from teaching. And I had contemplated this for weeks and weeks, and I had talked about this with my husband. And, it was no longer serving me. Thought I was giving up everything. My students, counted on me and this and that. But I understand that being unstoppable comes from a place not only of humility, but of perhaps self-sacrifice, because when you give up and when you say enough is enough, and I am enough. It's an awesome book, by the way, I Am Enough, but to learn that I am enough and I am worthy of my most ideal outcome comes from a place where perhaps you're in the deepest depths. And that very moment when I was about to say I'm resigning from teaching, I couldn't go on. Had I gone on and continued, I would have probably had a nervous breakdown. So that resiliency and that perseverance, I took back my control because I was so out of control. When you take back that control and you grab onto it and you say, I'm now going to step up in every way and be that catalyst for inspiration, it allows you to receive that unstoppability, that unfuckwithable power, that badass that we truly all are. That I always say this because I always want to come across in a humble way. I'm no different from anyone else. I believe that I am an ordinary woman with extraordinary goals, that aspires to be somebody really, really unstoppable. I'm no different. Any one of us can do it. We just have to have that strong will and desire. So that's what I think.
I love it. I wrote so many things down from all three of you, like through this hour. I love what you said, LJ, being unstoppable as a person who is a catalyst for inspiration. That is so part of this big time. Nikki, being unstoppable means realizing I am the tool, right? And Bessie, being unstoppable means it's okay to learn from your failures. You just keep going, right? That's a little super tiny nugget. So some of the things you guys just laid out, the brilliant, powerful words, brave words, authors, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share it with everybody. Everybody listening, we cannot wait to share this book with you. But first of all, you've been listening to these brilliant women talk about this subject, and something they said most likely sparked a little something in you. So drop down into the show notes and explore, click on their websites, find out about them at the next level, right? And then, of course, we have our live stream book launch party coming up for Unstoppable, being fierce, fearless, and unfuckwithable in life and business. Yes, it did take some practice to say that subtitle without messing it up. Okay, so that's going to be on Wednesday, February 16th at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're having our party. And of course, if you're listening after that date, well, that means you just need to go over to Amazon and get your copy of the book, right? We're going to be doing some giveaways, and I'm going to have all of the authors there to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about the wisdom that they share in the chapter. So we're going to have a really great time. And maybe you're a wellness practitioner. You're ready to share your brave words. Come find me at bravehealer.com. I'm waiting for you. Lastly, today, remember everybody, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time. Thanks, ladies.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.